Hello, I'm Susan Hintz-Epstein, and I'm here today with a tale of two trees. This really happened to me in life, and it's a story I'm living, an ongoing synchronicity of my relationship with the two hemlock trees in my valley. So let me begin the story. This is a story of two Laceys, a tale of healing. But the story begins with Hem. Hem is my hemlock tree on the right here where the pointer is, which you can't see. On the other side of Hem is a small stump where he lost his mate. Hem and I befriended one another. The Iroquois say that when trees are side by side, they are married. Hem had lost his mate and was depressed. I offered to befriend him, and Hem accepted. Last fall, Hella, one of my tutelary spirits, suggested that I deepen my relationship with Hem so we could learn from each other. Hem was willing. He has guided me to really deep tree meditations. He will hold sacred space for me when I am doing energetic healing work. And he has even stood in for me as a living representative of Yggdrasil, the Norse tree of life and worlds. I gave him a small golden sun that one of my teachers had given me, a healing crystal to stay in better communication with him over distance, and two Berigini symbols, the Discoverer and the Wisdom Keeper. A member of Hem's Grove was having trouble accepting Hem's friendship with a human being, me. So I would telepathically ask this tree if she could accept me as a friend to a member of her grove, but her hostility continued. Over time, the tree saw me interacting with her grove in positive ways. She had the grove test me. She wanted to know if I could be trusted. Sometimes she asked the grove or him to say, "No, I don't want to see you today. Your energy's out of balance, or I'm not in the mood." I respectfully walked away, but each time I came back, I asked permission to enter the energy field of Hem or the grove. I could tell that my presence created dissonance within the grove, so I finally asked this tree to forgive me. I could not sense her answer, but she stopped trying to push me away. One cold winter morning, I woke up to fear. I stepped into the fear, but I discovered it wasn't mine. I began receiving images in my third eye. I saw the loggers getting closer and closer from the tree's point of view. She felt her friends dying. She felt their fear, but worst of all, she felt their absence. Where their living presence had been, there was nobody. I held space with her and I called in my allies, the Alfar and the Huldra folk, who knew what to do for her. The Alfar and the Huldra folk cocooned her. They simply loved her. They gave her space to step through her fear and to face the unknown. They gave her presence and support. Stepping into the unknown, this tree recovered her center and her peace of mind. As this tree overcame her fear, her grove now was free of the fear she brought into the communal mind, and the grove could hold its own peace. The tree rested. In her cocoon, she felt safe. She took time to accept her new emotional state. Her new emotional state was without fear. From time to time, the tree would check in with her grove. Her grove supported her new feeling of peace and calm. The tree considered, and one day she told me her name. She said, "You can call me Lacey." I asked to meet her, but she was embarrassed and wouldn't say why. One day she agreed that I could come meet her when the time was right. One morning, she woke me up and asked for the Berigini symbols of the Raven Wisdom Keeper and the Magician. The time wasn't right yet, but one day Lacey knew the time was right. The ravens were flying over her grove. They had flown on a Sunday. I made the 2 Berigini symbols on Tuesday and placed them in the altar for blessing. On Wednesday, Odin's Day, I saw at Lacey. The ravens Hugin and Moonin are Odin's thought and memory, so Odin's day was auspicious. I followed my intuition and the moment came. I asked a tree if she was Lacey. She said she was also Lacey, but she was young. My glance slipped past her to an old dead tree. I had expected to find a living tree. I had found both an old dead tree and a living tree. They were both Lacey. The old dead tree had a lot of presence. Her spirit was very strong. The younger living tree was her daughter, whom she is teaching. Younger Lacey is carrying her mother's mantle of wisdom keeper for her grove. This is the first Lacey. This is the older Lacey. Her broad, strong trunk will let her stand until she rots down to the forest floor. Although she is dead, her spirit and presence remain strong, and she is glad that her body provides sustenance for the small creatures of the woodland. Insects break her down, and woodpeckers and other bird species nest in her cavities. And all this is younger Lacey, and although I didn't know it when I took the photo, the Tiwaz rune symbol shows up in the photograph, reflecting Lacey's journey as a warrior, living with the memory of her fear, even as she held the role of wisdom keeper for her grove. The Berigini symbols hang on the tree. The magician is the one on the left, and the raven wisdom keeper is the one on the right. Our story is not over. This is a story of the passing over the mantle from the older generation to the new. This is a story of hope and forgiveness and moving through fear. This is a story of how humans interact with nature. We are part of nature. The 5 elements are in our own bodies. Fear separates, but love unites. We need our emotions. It is possible to step into traumatic emotions and heal them with the loving support of our spiritual guides. And just because a being does not look like you or me does not mean it lacks conscious being. So welcome and thank you for sharing with me the story of the 2 Laceys. I hope this story inspires you to read as it inspired me to live.